Welcome to CARB's tester training for Clean Truck Check. This module will cover Clean Truck Check's requirements regarding the SAE J1667 Smoke Opacity Testing. As a quick reminder, the information presented in this module is meant as a guide and is not all-inclusive, nor does it replace or supersede any requirements within Clean Truck Check.
Your objectives for this module are to learn how to perform a vehicle emissions control equipment inspection, or visual inspection, and how it fits within Clean Truck Check. Some of the most important information covered in this module includes: why is this inspection needed as a part of a vehicle's emissions compliance test in Clean Truck Check? Which vehicles are subject to this inspection? How to perform the visual inspection? And how to submit the visual inspection to CARB through your CTC Viz tester account.
Why is the smoke opacity test required? As shown in the pie chart, the majority of PM 2.5 emissions from the heavy-duty vehicle sector are caused by excess emissions due to malfunctioning or tampered emissions control components. The smoke opacity test is useful in identifying malfunctioning emissions control components in the vehicle. For example, visible smoke emitting from the tailpipe is typically a sign that the DPF has been compromised. The smoke opacity test is used to help assess potential issues by measuring the amount of smoke coming out of the tailpipe. To further assess a vehicle's emissions control component health, beyond just the measurement of tailpipe smoke, the smoke opacity test is coupled with the vehicle emissions control equipment inspection as part of a full Clean Truck Check emissions compliance test.
A smoke opacity test is required to be performed on a heavy-duty diesel vehicle that does not have an onboard diagnostic or OBD system. These vehicles fall into two categories. The first category are vehicles equipped with a 2012 model year and older diesel engine or diesel hybrid systems. The second category are on-road vehicles equipped with an off-road engine. This vehicle type equipped with an off-road engine is a very rare situation where a vehicle manufacturer has received a waiver from CARB due to a unique vehicle configuration. However rare, as a Clean Truck Check tester, you may come across this vehicle type in the field. As part of a vehicle's emission compliance test, the smoke opacity test is not required for a non-OBD alternative fueled and alternative fueled hybrid. The smoke opacity test is only required on vehicles that contain diesel or diesel hybrid engines. Clean Truck Check requires all diesel and alternatively fueled non-OBD vehicles to complete the vehicle emissions control equipment inspection in addition to the smoke opacity test, to fulfill the non-OBD vehicle emissions compliance testing requirement.
So who is allowed to perform the smoke opacity test and submit the results as part of this Clean Truck Check program? Only credentialed Clean Truck Check testers are permitted to perform the smoke opacity test and submit the results to CARB. Clean Truck Check credentialed testers are individuals who have successfully completed the full Clean Truck Check tester training course within the last 2 years and have a valid Clean Truck Check tester ID number. Clean Truck Check credentialed testers may offer services for hire, perform emissions compliance testing on vehicles within the fleet where they are employed, and/or perform testing on their own vehicles if they choose. Further details related to Clean Truck Check requirements, such as when emissions compliance tests are required, the frequency of inspection requirements, and other related regulatory requirements can be found in the regulatory module in this Clean Truck Check tester training course.
Let's walk through the important requirements of smoke opacity testing and the key steps to ensure a successful test. We will walk through what equipment testing is used, vehicle preconditioning requirements and the preparation process, the setup of the smoke meter in the vehicle's tailpipe, and the smoke test procedure itself. Allowable opacity limits and the process of submitting the test results to CARB will also be discussed. One important note is that the following slides present elements of the SAE J1667 recommended practice using a compatible smoke meter. However, these slides are not all-inclusive and are not a replacement for the test procedure document itself. You should read the official SAE J1667 test procedure document prior to performing the smoke opacity test and refer to it as needed. Additionally, refer to the owner's manual for your specific smoke meter for complete details and directions for setup and performing the test.
The SAE J1667 test procedure, known as the Snap Acceleration Smoke Test Procedure for Heavy-Duty Diesel-Powered Vehicles, is the required procedure for the Clean Truck Check Smoke Opacity Test. This document can be found on CARB's website. To access the document from the CARB website, go to CARB's homepage and search for SAE J1667 using the search function on the top right-hand corner. Here, you will be able to download the document with further details on the test beyond what is discussed in this training module. You are also required to use a smoke meter that meets the SAE J1667 specifications. Information on smoke meter manufacturers who have stated that their meters meet the SAE J1667 specifications can be found on CARB's website as well. To access this page from CARB's Clean Truck Check homepage, go to Credentialed Testers and Testing Devices, then to SAE J1667 Smoke Meter Information.
Once you are set to begin performing the inspection, there are certain steps that you as the Credentialed Clean Truck Check tester must complete to prepare the vehicle for testing prior to performing the smoke opacity test. These steps help ensure the safety of yourself, the vehicle driver, and others in the test area, and help prepare the vehicle to more readily achieve accurate test results. Before performing any testing, chalk the wheels or otherwise restrain the vehicle to prevent it from moving and ensure that people always remain clear of the wheels and vehicle. For manual transmission vehicles, place the transmission in the neutral position and release the clutch. For automatic transmission vehicles, place the transmission in the park position if available, otherwise place it in the neutral position.
Make sure the vehicle air conditioning is off. Deactivate the engine brake prior to testing the vehicle. Also, deactivate other devices installed on the engine or vehicle, such as the heater or auxiliary devices that would alter the normal acceleration characteristics of the engine. If these devices are not deactivated, they could prevent the test from being successfully completed or could result in inaccurate results. Prior to performing the smoke opacity test, it is also important to warm up the engine to a temperature of approximately 180 degrees Fahrenheit before starting. This can be achieved by operating the engine for a minimum of 15 minutes prior to performing the test.
To set up the smoke meter for the smoke opacity test, you need to follow the manufacturer instructions in the manual for your specific smoke meter, as well as some general instructions that apply to most of the smoke meters. Here are some of these general smoke meter setup instructions to follow. 1. Assemble the sensor, communication cable, and extension pole if applicable, according to manufacturer instructions, and attach sensor to the vehicle's exhaust stack. Examples of these components are shown in the two pictures on the slide. If the vehicle has two exhaust stacks, attach the sensor to the stack with the higher discernible smoke exiting from it. If there is no discernible difference between the smoke coming out of the stacks, attach the sensor to the stack on which it is easiest to do so. 2. Installation of the smoke meter onto the vehicle's tailpipe is dependent upon the type of smoke meter that you are using, so refer to the smoke meter owner's manual for proper installation instructions.
Upon installation, follow the instructions on the smoke meter menu prompts to input the required test information using the keypad prior to performing the actual smoke tests. Some of the required information includes, but may not be limited to, the test date and location, address of where the test is being performed, the name of the Clean Truck Check tester, vehicle owner information, the VIN and license plate of the vehicle, the engine manufacturer and model year of the engine, and the tailpipe stack diameter and stack direction. Follow the menu prompts and manufacturer instructions for initial calibration, and check the zero and full scale readings of your smoke meter. Note that this process may differ by smoke meter manufacturer.
The last step before performing the official smoke opacity test is the pre-test process, also known as cleanout snaps. This process includes conducting 3 cleanout snaps to prepare the driver, the vehicle, and the smoke meter before performing the official test. The cleanout snaps also help achieve more accurate results by removing any loose soot that is accumulated in the exhaust system before performing the official test. As a clean truck check tester, you need to always follow the manufacturer instructions for your specific smoke meter to conduct the pre-tests. To perform the pre-tests or the cleanout snaps, follow these general steps. 1. Signal the driver to start the vehicle. 2. Follow menu prompts on the keypad to start the test. 3. Signal the driver to press down on the throttle pedal until the engine reaches the maximum RPM the engine will allow, and hold for 4 seconds. 4. Signal the driver to release the accelerator and stop. Then use the keypad on the smoke meter to advance to the next test. 5. Allow the engine to reach a low idle RPM, then repeat the above steps 2 more times. 6. When the 3 pre-tests are completed, you are now ready to begin the official test.
The process for the official smoke opacity test is the same as the pre-tests. Again, you need to work with the driver to successfully complete 3 snap tests. To perform the official smoke test, follow menu prompts on the smoke meter's keypad to start the test, signal the driver to press down on the throttle pedal until the engine reaches the maximum RPM the engine will allow, and hold for 4 seconds. Signal the driver to stop, then use the keypad to advance to the next test. Allow the engine to reach low idle RPM, then repeat the above steps 2 more times. When the third and last official smoke test is done, signal the driver to turn the engine off. Follow the smoke meter's menu prompts and manufacturer's instructions to perform a final zero check validation and determine if the test is valid. If an opacity meter sensor head falls out of an exhaust pipe during the test, you must confirm the sensor is not damaged, reinsert the sensor, and retest the vehicle.
Allowable levels of smoke opacity are shown in these 2 tables and differ by model year and whether they are an off-road or on-road engine. The calculated average of the 3 official smoke tests must be at or lower than the allowable smoke opacity level for the tested vehicle. An average opacity level at or below the allowable opacity limit is considered a passing test. Otherwise, the vehicle is in a non-compliant state and has failed the test. You should refer to the emission control label on the engine to determine the model year of the engine. Details related to where the ECL is located on the engine and how to read it are further explained in Module 5 of this training course. The table on the left shows the allowable smoke opacity levels for vehicles equipped with on-road engines based on the model year of the engine and their emission control systems. Note that any vehicle with a Level 3 diesel particulate filter, or DPF, is subject to a 5% opacity standard. The majority of vehicles that you see in the field will be subject to this 5% opacity standard. If a vehicle has a retrofit DPF, also known as a VDECS, or Verified Diesel Emission Control Strategy, a label on the VDECS will help you identify what level the VDECS system is considered. The higher the level, the better the VDECS is at reducing PM and smoke from the vehicle. How to read the VDECS label is also further detailed in Module 5 of this training course. The table on the right shows the allowable smoke opacity levels for vehicles equipped with off-road engines based on their emissions control systems. Legal use of off-road engines in on-road vehicles is a rare occurrence.
After successfully completing the Clean Truck Check smoke opacity test, you should verify the test results and sign the document. To do that, follow the prompts on the smoke meter to print the test strip receipt to review and sign. If your smoke meter only provides electronic test receipts, verify the electronic information is correct. Note that the final test result is the calculated average of the 3 official smoke tests. Do not rely on the default pass or fail determination from the smoke meter to assess emissions compliance. Some smoke meters may provide pass-fail outputs based on old 40% and 55% opacity limits that may not be applicable to the test that you performed. We strongly recommend that you contact the manufacturer of your smoke meter to ensure that its opacity limits are up to date.
Once you have completed the emissions compliance tests for a non-OBD vehicle, which includes the Vehicle Emission Control Equipment Inspection and the Smoke Opacity Test for diesel-fueled vehicles, the Credentialed Clean Truck Check tester who performed the tests must submit the test results via their CTC Viz tester account at cleantruckcheck.arb.ca.gov. The submitted smoke opacity test results must include the vehicle's VIN and odometer reading at testing, the 3 measured smoke opacity test levels and the calculated average and range of the 3 measured levels, the name and tester ID of the Clean Truck Check tester who performed the test, information on the smoke meter used for testing including the brand name, make, and model number of the smoke meter and the date of its last calibration. And finally, you must ensure that the results include the date the test was performed. Please always make sure the correct VIN, without typos, is used in your test submission. If the VIN does not match the vehicle account, the test cannot be applied. If your test submission has a VIN typo, please resubmit a new test form with the correct VIN. If your customer has a VIN typo in their account, they will need to deactivate the incorrect VIN and replace it with a new vehicle using the correct VIN.
For those who are interested in taking an in-person training class for more in-depth training for conducting smoke tests, the California Council on Diesel Education and Technology offers a one-day training course at select community colleges in California. The course provides basic information on smoke emissions troubleshooting and repair, current emissions regulations, the importance of service and maintenance, and hands-on training in performing the SAE J1667 Snap Acceleration Smoke Test. Please see CCDET's webpage for registration information by class date and community college locations. Remember that you must still take this Clean Truck Check training course and pass the exam with a minimum score of 80% to become a credentialed Clean Truck Check tester.
As we have now reached the end of this training, let's summarize what you've learned in this course. You've learned why a smoke test is performed and which vehicles it's performed on. You've learned who can perform the test and the basics of performing the test. You've learned the allowable opacity limits that vehicles must meet. And finally, you've learned how to submit the results to CARB.